Do you want to do something creative today, but you just don't really know what it is that you want to do? You're like, no subject comes to mind. Well, then if that's the case, I invite you to join me. We're going to be doing a creative exercise, some drawing, bring out your art supplies. It's going to be fun. Hi, my name is Marie-Noëlle Worm. If you don't know me, I'm an artist, illustrator, also a top teacher on Skillshare, where I've taught more than 80,000 students to tap into the creativity that lies within. That's how I like to call it. And it's really just a passion of mine to help you figure out how it is that you can get out of your own way in order to maintain a creative, sustainable practice in your sketchbook. So that's what we're going to do today. Take whatever art materials it is that you think will be fun to play around with. And oh yeah, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you don't have the time to watch this video today, so that you can watch it some other time, and hit the bell so that you can get notified when my next video is out. All right, let's get drawing. So if you've watched my video about the power of ugly art, then you'll know that I'm a big fan of scribbling. And that's how we're going to start off today, because this is just something that I like to do to warm up. I feel like it really reminds you of the fact that the process is what's most important, the experience of drawing, rather than just the result or, the end product. That it's really about coming back to the kind of, I'm going to use the word sensorial, but I'm not sure that's actually an English word. I'm also part French, and so there's a word in French which is sensoriel, and it means like the feelingness, like the sensationness of a thing. And so that's really what I mean here is, we forget about this sensory aspect of drawing, of painting, whether you're using something analog, like I'm doing right now, where I'm using colored pencils, or whether you're using something analog. There's still a very strong, type of feel, no matter what the medium it is that you're using. And so you can actually even, I've put colors together here that I think are pretty. But if you want to just really build on that video from last time, you can decide to really lean into kind of the ugliness, to kind of let yourself feel more free and just play around with some of these weird scribbles and doodles or colors that you don't like to put together, just as a reminder of that, all those things that we're talking about. And this is really just to warm up here before we do something a little bit more figurative. But the thing is that, we're going to do something more figurative, but it's not because you're doing something figurative that means that you should only use this sort of principle in the warm-up or when you're making ugly art. You can still use that same principle when you're drawing something figurative. And what I mean by that is not necessarily I'm aiming to make it ugly, but rather not aiming to make it pretty. And I think that's an important distinction, because it's when we try to really aim for something pretty that, we get that really loud inner critic that we just don't like what we're doing. And the reason is because then we're getting back into our head, our judging mind, our analyzing mind, and we're not spending time with that real material reality of the process and of just enjoying that process. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I do want us to move on to our figurative exercise. But I guess we can already, just from the things that we've been exploring already, start thinking about something, an object. I think an object is the easiest rather than, a character or a person. Just to think about a subject, something that you might want to explore today. And maybe, the colors that you're using are going to give you ideas about what that might be, or the marks that you're making. And if you really don't have any clue, maybe think of something related to the season in which you're in. And so I'm in high summer right now in the Northern Hemisphere. And so I think I'm going to do things along those lines within that theme. And it can be something as simple as, let's say, a cherry. Okay, so I'm going to make my first kind of cherry, and because I'm trying to maintain this similar energy of not making things too perfectionistic, I want to really embrace that even as I'm making like my first cherry. And I might add a second one. Isn't there like some sort of thing like that? And I made kind of something really round for my first one, but even in doing this, it makes me want to explore something even a little bit messier. What if I just allowed myself to scribble around shape? And I feel like there's often like a little thing at the end here. I don't know if I'm remembering correctly. Sometimes you can, look at references if you feel like that would make it more fun. And you can see here, I'm kind of being faithful to the cherry color, but only very vaguely. So, cherries are usually red or dark red, almost black. And I'm kind of staying within that red range, but I'm not, I've never seen like a purple pink cherry, and that's fine. But, since we're here to explore, why don't we try something a little bit different? What if I tried to do, for example, a yellow cherry, but instead of making it really scribbly, I make it really very precise. And I'm going to keep that kind of shape that I found, but I'm not going to fill it in. And I'm going to make another one. Here. Something more like that. We can also just try something completely different. Like, what if I made a gray cherry, which is kind of sad, honestly. But I don't know, it could be fun. And I'm going to make it a slightly different shape here. I'm going to make it just circular. And maybe I'm just going to explore a different type of texture with this one. And so this might mean that you might not even recognize it as a cherry. It might just look like some sort of round fruit. But that's okay. And do a second one with a similar texture. And what if I make it very straight instead of curved? But I keep that kind of little dimple that I had. So I like that, actually. But you see how the shapes are quite similar in all of these? What if I introduce just a little bit of variation? So I'm going to actually just change the sizes of these. So maybe this one will be bigger, and then the second one is going to be slightly smaller. And I like this sort of weird flat texture. It's not very realistic, but that's not the point. We're really just here to kind of play with some shapes and some colors and some variations and subtlety. So, and I'm going to add that same triangular kind of shape here with the little curve. I quite like that. But then what if I just, you know, had a little fun and added in a little bit of pink in here, maybe to bring it back to Cherrylandia a little bit more. So it's kind of like a hairy cherry or something, I don't know. But you see, this is how you maintain a spirit of exploration even as you're doing something more figurative, is by not staying too stuck to any one of your drawings, and to really just allow each one of them to be kind of a bouncing board, a springboard for another exploration. You might identify, you know, a few things that you like in some of them, a few things that you don't like in others. And I actually surprisingly really like this weird color combo of this kind of fluorescent type of green with this pink and ochre yellow in my ugly drawing that I made above, my ugly warm-up. So I'm going to, what if I just decided to bring in some of that. Where's my ochre? It's more of an olive green, actually. I'm going to come back to that shape like that. So you can use elements from your ugly drawings within your figurative drawings. And you can see how that really just brings you somewhere new, brings you somewhere else. I could also allow myself to add an outline. I didn't really put an outline except on these ones, but on this one. And you can see the colors actually bleeding out, and I was kind of almost automatically being like, oh no, oops, the color isn't contained within my cherry, and that doesn't work, you know? And this is like remnants of when you're a kid and people say like, oh, you have to color within the lines. But screw that, you know? What if you don't want to color in the lines, you know? So is it that big of a deal? I don't think so. So I'm going to make another one over here. Maybe a similar kind of color combo. But in this one, I'm actually going to make my cherry, you know, purposefully not in those borders. And it could almost look like an apple, but if I add, you know, maybe a second one, and look, what if I add some white space and there's just some emptiness there? And that could be fun too. And then what if I decided, okay, well, I don't know, I just want to give a bit of a background to these cherries. And then I'm like, oops, but I made the stalks of my cherries the same color as this background that I'm adding in. Okay, well, how can I adjust. So, well, that would mean in order to make an outline, maybe I would leave a little bit of white space around that stalk. And then, is that going to work? I'm not sure. But it could make for something interesting visually. You never know. It could be ugly. And if it is ugly, then I can just use that again, just like I used this one, as a springboard for exploring something else. I'm really liking this kind of dark background. So I'm going to extend it to these cherries as well. Not to say that this is one drawing in itself, though it could turn into one, you know? Maybe this is like building a pattern of weird cherries. What if instead of leaving a white space, I just make a kind of fluorescent yellow line on that one? Do you see how each issue can become an excuse to trying something else? Since I put it on the left side, I can go all the way dark on this side. Let's see if it works. It might not, but we'll see. It kind of works. And then what if I tried to make a really clear outline of my scribbles here? And then this one, oh, maybe I'll just keep it white actually. I like that. And so I've been using mostly colored pencils here. If you're curious, these are Luminance colored pencils. I'll be putting a link also in the description. But, you know, you could be doing the same sort of exploration with mixed media, with watercolor, with gouache, with whatever art material it is that's calling to you today. But really just try to remember and maintain the spirit of the power of ugly art. How can I use my ugly art in a way that is fun? Rather than have it say something about me, or if it does say something about me, have it say something about my capacity for creativity, my capacity for finding ideas within the ugly. So we haven't created a finished drawing here, but if you've played along with me, then hopefully you'll have a few different iterations of an object, you know, whether that's something that you did similar to me, like a cherry, or let's say you did something else like sunglasses or, I don't know, beach towel, or, you know, there could be any number of subjects that you decide to draw today. But I really hope that you've allowed yourself to play with different ideas and to kind of understand that our sketchbook is really this working tool where we can explore and discover new ideas, discover new ways of going about drawing things that you maybe haven't seen in a tutorial, you maybe haven't, you know, learned it in a book where it says, okay, this is how you draw this thing exactly step by step. You can be the one who really brings in the different new ways of representing objects. And they can be very fun to discover. It can be I think, a true adventure kind of in your sketchbook. So I hope you got a little sense of that. Please let me know in the comments if you had a little bit of fun, or if you didn't, and if you really struggled. And if you did, then that's absolutely fine as well, because
This is a tricky practice. It does not come easy, especially if it's the first times that you're really allowing yourself to play with chaos and ugliness in this way. So if you did struggle, then please celebrate the fact that you did it despite the struggle, and to embrace the struggle as a sign that you're growing and learning how to integrate this into your art practice.
Thank you so much for joining in today. I hope that you enjoyed that. Please share in the comments section to let me know how it was for you, what you struggled with, what you found hard, what you found more easy, and mostly celebrate also the fact that you showed up today, that you either maybe only watched the video with the idea that on the rewatch you're going to join in, or you did join in. In any case, please congratulate yourself for taking some time for yourself and your creativity. I think it's such an important thing in our lives. At least for me, it really enriches my life when I give myself that time and space to really express myself in my sketchbook. Hit like and subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. And I will see you very soon here or on Instagram or on Patreon, where I also do live sessions every month. We do 2 a month, depending on the tier that you join. And I also do sketchbook tours and like vlogs and other little tidbits here and there. So I will see you very soon.